Well, it's been a few months. The lines have been drawn. The dust has settled. The grosses are in. And basically, fandom is divided into either you like Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice or you didn't like Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. Now, in those two camps, you could subdivide them even further into really liked it, loved it, thought it was the greatest, and on the opposite side, didn't like it, thought it sucked, or thought it was the worst comic book adaptation ever made. I myself actually would fit in the category of I liked it. Um, I I included the link to my review of Batman v Superman, the theatrical release that arrived in theaters back in March, and I did like the film. While I recognized there were flaws and there were some issues editorially and story wise that still didn't hamper my ability to enjoy the film for what it was. I mean, I didn't need to have my somebody to hold my hand to guide me through all the story events. But there were beats where I'm like they had questions about it. It's like what was behind that motivation? Why did that character do this? How did that character know that? But as is often the case with many movies, especially big budget comic book films, there tends to be a opinion to when the film arrives on home video to release a extended cut or director's cut, and that is the case with Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, as we are now getting a Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition. Now, what stands out about this is that the fact that they're touting it to be rated R. It is, and it has been an R-rated film for sequences of violence, as the description says. And in addition, this film is 3 hours and 2 minutes, which makes it half an hour longer than the theatrical cut. So you got to wonder just what exactly did they cut out? What's being added? How does this version turn out? Well, I don't think whatever I say at this moment really makes any difference to if you didn't like Batman v Superman, the theatrical cut. I don't think you're really going to give a damn about the Ultimate Edition. But if you liked Batman v Superman, the theatrical cut, I think you will like this one even more. And for me, while I definitely like the Ultimate Edition much better than I did the theatrical edition. It does, but overall, it's still in the same ballpark how I felt about the film of the original film. But it definitely feels a lot better and a lot more focused and more engaging. So the Ultimate Edition, yes, there are added sequences of violence, but I wouldn't necessarily say they're R-rated per se. I mean, for me, they felt PG-13 still. There were some sequences that involved Batman where he's breaking bones and stuff, but I think most of the issue they had with some of the violence was more human on human, just regular people, and then the violent and the action that they take against other folks. Um, this version definitely fleshes out a lot more details. It actually really adds a lot of depth to Lex Luthor, whereas in the theatrical version it seemed like he was just like a chastised child who was just lashing out, trying to get back for someone who took away his toys. But here in the Ultimate Edition, you really get an idea and sense of just how depraved and maniacal and how evil Lex can be as the film unfolds, and you just begin to understand the depths and just how involved in the events of Dawn of Justice that Lex Luthor is. Um, the film also really fleshes out the the sides of Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent and where they stand in terms of what exactly is going on in this film, where Clark is struggling to find his place in this world and what his responsibilities are, and Bruce is trying to sort out and find a way to put this God character in check. And as the film progresses and we get to the story beats that we're familiar with, the things are intensified, and the film is all the better for it as the clash eventually unfolds. There are introductions of some other characters. I'll leave those. Some of them I'll just leave as unannounced because I would consider it a spoiler. So it's better that you wait until you see the film itself. But a lot of talk was overheard about Jenna Malone's character being completely dropped in the theatrical cut. And while I'm not well versed in the comic book universe, let alone the DC universe, I can understand why her character was cut from the theatrical film version because it didn't really it gave a reason for some events that I don't know if people were wondering how who was involved in certain details, but it was a nice addition, and I imagine it's a character that would reappear in further DC films in the DC expanded universe. The one overall issue that I had with both versions of this film is that it never really clearly on the nose states exactly why Luthor is so obsessed with destroying Superman, Clark Kent. I'm guessing Snyder and company are leaving it to the viewer to just decide on what they think his reasonings are. But it really, I was hoping that while they flesh out Luthor even more so, I was hoping that they gave some reason as to why he is so intent on destroying him. And while it didn't necessarily bother me, that would have been a nice plot point to cover in both versions. I mean, it's like I've seen the theatrical cut twice, and now that I've seen the Ultimate Edition once, I could definitely see where there were improvements in the story, and basically this version does answer a lot of issues that I might have had with the theatrical cut, and but still, that residing Luther's motivation is always at the back of my mind. But overall, I gave the theatrical edition a 3.5 stars out of 5. So I would also give the Ultimate Edition 3.5 stars out of 5, but a much closer to a 4 stars out of 5. It doesn't quite go beyond and reach that level because it's like while it's cool, it just didn't blow me away in terms of say Snyder's Watchmen or Nolan's The Dark Knight. It's still a very cool and entertaining comic book adaptation. It's definitely a much better of the new DC expanded universe. It's clearly the better film of the three, well, two, and still far superior to Man of Steel. I know a lot of people think that was the greatest. I didn't think it was all that great, but yeah, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, the Ultimate Edition, 3.5 stars out of 5. If you're a fan of the film, it's definitely worth checking out. If you're like lukewarm to the film, you might want to check it out to see if it improves your enjoyment of the film anymore. So, but if you weren't a fan of the theatrical edition, you're probably not going to want to waste your time on this one. I mean, 3 hours is a lot of time to commit, but for me, the 3 hours went by pretty quickly. Just like theatrical, didn't feel like 2.5 hours at all. The 3 hours didn't feel like 3 hours at all either. So, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, the Ultimate Edition. It arrives on digital download, I believe, June 28th, and then on Blu-ray and DVD in mid-July. I think July 17th, I think it was. So, if you like this review, hit that like button below. Have you heard of the Ultimate Edition of Dawn of Justice? We're looking forward to Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition. What are you and what were you most looking forward to seeing in this version? Please comment below and let me know. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do, so you can stay on top of my reviews as they come in. And so until next time, we'll see you at the movies.